yesterday I happened across this flat of Goldenseal, and it was in such nice ripe berry phase. I thought, I could shoot a Goldenseal video here. So we're in Beamhenge, which is our little shade structure in downtown Williams, Oregon. You can hear the cars zooming by, which is a bit ironic since we're looking at one of the shy forest dwellers, Goldenseal Hydrastis canadensis, in the family crowfoot, the Ranunculaceae. The plant is hardy to zones 4 to 7, and indeed requires a cold winter in order to successfully complete its cycle of dormancy and reawakening in the spring. It's almost like a spring ephemeral, the Goldenseal. It comes up early in the spring, flowers, goes to berry. Here we are in July in the shade, and we have red berries on the plant. These plants are set up to produce the seeds, which we will mash out of the berries and float in water, decant, and then put in a fine coir mix and sell as Goldenseal seed through strictlymedicinalseeds.com. And then when they die down to the root in the fall, we're going to be selling the live roots for replanting, and the live roots that we sell are from mature individuals, as you see. Then these would be augmented by other plantings that we have in the forest and other shade gardens. But these are going to be ready to ship out starting in September as live Goldenseal roots. So Goldenseal is really the quintessential Native American medicinal plant. It is the source of the isoquinoline alkaloid known as berberine, also hydrastine, and other isoquinoline alkaloids that together synergize to make it one of the better antibacterial herbs in the herbal pharmacy. It's the dried root that is most commonly used, although these days we're combining the root portion with the aerial parts as well when making our decoctions or tinctures. The reason being that the aerial parts of the plant have flavonoids that synergize with the agents that are in the roots and create a more effective antibacterial extract. The reason for this is the presence of efflux pump inhibitors in the Goldenseal leaf, and that helps the alkaloids be more effective in killing bacteria. So the plant is something that adapts really beautifully to the shade garden. You want to have a protected spot with a deep, slightly acidic loam, and dappled shade is very good. Here you can see that we've put a 40% shade cloth over the Goldenseal, and that helps to keep the summer sun off of it and keeps it really turgid and moist and nice. In the woodlands, it does well under hardwood trees in the dappled shade. It's a little different being underneath a tree than it is being underneath a shade cloth. Underneath a tree, you'll get a dappling effect where sunlight crosses the leaf, and the plants really enjoy that, and I wish we could create a shade cloth that did the same thing, but in any case, a 40% shade cloth works pretty well to give it enough shade to be well nourished through its entire life cycle. Then the soil where Goldenseal does best is a slightly acidic loam, and it needs to be a rested soil, although some compost, if it's well aged compost, is going to help in the rapid growth of the plant, and you can see that these have received their share of compost. They're really well bulked up. The traditional usage in Western medicine, and this is strictly an American herb, was originally used by the Native Americans and then by the settlers, and now in modern day American herbal practice it's widely used. It's an astringent to the mucous membranes, and it is, as mentioned previously, an antibacterial. And so it's very good for treating any kinds of inflammations of the mucous membranes. That would include, for instance, ocular disorders like pink eye or conjunctivitis, where you have a pussy discharge from the eyes. A dilute Goldenseal wash, whether made from the ground up roots, mixed into water and allowed to settle, and then applied to the eye in the morning, or a few drops of the tincture in a cup of water. Usually this would be isotonic water, or certainly a purified water, so that you don't introduce extra bacteria into the eye. Isotonic is made by mixing a little salt in with the water so that it's similar to the fluids that would come from your own body. Then this could be used to wash the eye, and pink eye is relieved very rapidly by the use of this dilute Goldenseal root wash. Then another one of the indications is certainly the common cold, or any kind of cough or upper respiratory infection where there is swelling of the mucous membranes, pain in the throat mucosa, and the presence of purulent matter. When you cough up yellow sputum, then may it remind you to use an herb that contains the yellow alkaloid berberine in order to treat it. This seed cultivation is really very, very interesting. You can take the seed and clean it and plant it, and then it overwinters, and this prepares it for germination, and it germinates in the spring, a very small seedling. It's a good way to work the plant up. Another way to produce the Goldenseal plant is to plant the dormant roots in the fall, and then they overwinter, and while they're overwintering they throw feeder roots, and you don't see any aerial growth, but it doesn't mean that the plant isn't active. It really is. It's active in a subterranean sense, and those feeder roots will nourish the rhizome, and then the bud will swell and the plant will come forth again in the spring. The Goldenseal clearly has this classic root rhizome structure where there's a horizontal sort of storage unit that is bulky, and then from that hang down the tiny rootlets. All of them are actually very active. The rootlets and the rhizome are active medicine for Goldenseal. Some people will be wanting to make a fresh Goldenseal root tincture. Actually, it works better to dry the roots first. That renders the herbal material more brittle, and it can be broken apart by grinding, and then is more thoroughly extracted. Berberine is water soluble, so you can use a fairly high water content in your tinctures, just so long as there's enough alcohol in there to preserve it. A lot of people will just use a straight vodka, which is fine, or you can use a 50% grain alcohol and 50% distilled water at a 1:5 ratio to make the Goldenseal tincture. And then you can also throw in some dried Goldenseal leaf there, and the entire synergistic combination of root, rhizome, and leaf will create a very effective medicine. Goldenseal, very important to have it around one of the stronger and more active of all of the medicinal agents in the Herbal Materia Medica medicine chest. I encourage you to know it and to plant it. More information is available in my book, Growing at Risk Medicinal Herbs. There's an entire chapter on Goldenseal there. So that will answer all of your questions about the distribution of the plant, the agronomy, and also my book, Making Plant Medicine, talks a lot about the Goldenseal medicine. Hydrastis canadensis. Don't be caught without it.